All right, guys, welcome to the show, Fire and Ice Wednesday. I've got the world famous, the most enthusiastic, the energetic Tom Santinello here online. What's going on, Tom?
Morning, Joe. What's going on?
Good morning, man. I am ready to talk about Leonard Fournette. I'm ready to talk about Alvin Kamara. I'm ready to talk about potential landing spots for these guys, the latest news and notes and quotes, what's going around, what's going on around the league, because we're almost there, man. Like, what do we have? Like, over a week, like 8 days till the season starts? We're almost there till kickoff. I'm excited. Want to get your feedback on some thoughts, some things going on, maybe even talk a little bit about that primetime game, KC versus Houston. So, I mean, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with what's trending, which is ultimately the Leonard Fournette free agency news and stuff? Do you want to start there?
Yeah, we got a few running backs in the news.
Well, okay, yeah, let's start. Who do you want to start off with then?
We can go with Fournette.
Okay, let's get into Fournette here. Now, he is a free agent. By the way, get the 16-round draft. How did I forget to plug? It's draft week. Get the 16-round draft solution. Link in the bio. If you guys don't know what that is, first ever and only video training. I'm telling you guys, give you all the optimal players, sleepers, breakouts, everything in one spot on a silver platter. 16 rounds. Linked it below on YouTube or thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. I totally forgot. How can I forget about that? It's draft season. 16 rounds. Get it. All right, Leonard Fournette. I heard just now before we started recording this show, 9:40 Eastern time, and it's Wednesday, September 2nd. I heard that New England is not interested in Leonard Fournette. And I feel, now, as a fantasy guy, I've been kind of saying, be careful with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Is there a chance this guy ends up in KC or maybe in Eagles, Buzzkills, Miles Sanders, or Clyde Edwards-Helaire Valley? Where do you think Mr. Lenny ends up here, Tom? What's happening?
I think there's two important things to look at. One is that there's many teams that, first of all, Jacksonville couldn't trade him. So not saying a team doesn't want him,
right?
But team didn't want to give up even a 7th round pick for him, along with the compensation that came with it. I think, whatever he was making this year is, 3, 4, 5 million, somewhere in that range of the last year of his rookie deal. I think it's 4 million. And he also went unclaimed on waivers. So nobody wants him at $4 million. Nobody wanted to give up anything to get him. So, not saying he can't help anybody. I still think he can. And honestly, I think he will. He even came out and said it's not about the money. He knows. I told you this before. He's in a contract year. Jacksonville, I just don't think – I don't know what they're doing. They're going to clean house probably.
Right.
I think they'll be better than people think just because I think Jay Gruden will have that offense and they'll be better. But, I mean, they're trying to get draft capital, but it's just a mess, that organization. He's obviously the best running back over there, but it also shows to speak what teams think of him. Teams do not think highly of him. Otherwise, somebody would have picked him up. There's definitely a ton of teams that can, if they don't have the 4 million, they can make room for the 4 million. So that's one thing to look at. But anybody who says, oh, he's going to the Patriots, the Eagles, this team, it's just all a guess. Nobody knows anything in the media, right? It's just nobody knows. I mean, when stuff comes out now and says they're not interested, yeah, that's a little bit more obvious. But when people come up with those lists, like, oh, these 5 teams would be where he could be headed, that's just a guess. There's teams that, I mean, he would fit great on Seattle, but, they got a couple guys. He would have been a better fit than who'd they get? Carlos Hyde.
Yeah.
He would have been a better fit over there, in my opinion.
I agree.
I don't know if Chris Carson, how healthy he is going into.
I heard he's 100%. He just came out and said, I'm 100%, but he's probably saying that. Maybe he is. I mean, Fournette I hate to say this, sometimes it's better waiting a couple weeks to week 3 or 4, seeing if somebody goes down, maybe your boy Todd Gurley goes down, maybe someone else, maybe somebody, but that'll give him a better opportunity to just go in and be the man. And I do think he has something to prove. I think he's a great running back and it can be a great running back in this league, and he's good enough. He's not that 2-dimensional guy that can go out there and, catch 60, 70 passes. I don't think. As of right now, where could he fit? I mean, he could fit in KC, but that would be a pain in the ass for Clyde Edwards-Helaire because I'm not sold on Darrell Williams or Darwin and all those guys right now. Where could he be a plug and play right now? Maybe even take that starting job. Is there any place he can go?
I mean, I think he can be a pounded guy with the Rams.
Yeah.
I don't know how good. Listen, I don't know how good the rookie is there. He can be a good complement to Austin Eckler and the Chargers in a 1-2 punch. Similar to a better Melvin Gordon. I think he could be a good fit in, several other situations. Washington doesn't really have a running back. I think he's better than Adrian Peterson, and I don't know how good Love is over there. I know
Gibson, Love.
Yeah, he's better than what they have there. I have a feeling Washington is just going to be bottom of the barrel team this year. What other teams? I mean,
would he fit in KC? Would he actually fit there? Would that be a good fit?
I mean, it wouldn't be a good fit for him, and I don't think he would go there unless he wants to just win a ring. He's going to be that guy in the fourth quarter to just pound the lead away, and it's just like he's going to lose contract value. So I would say no, unless if he was later in his career and just wanted to earn a ring, kind of like Sean McCoy last year, maybe I would say that would be a really good fit. I don't know if Tampa Bay doesn't have much money left. They got a couple guys. I mean, but I don't think he wants to be that guy just to come in the fourth and pound it away in the second half when the team's up a couple scores. He wants to be a man. Offense. David Montgomery, he's got a little groin injury in Chicago, right? Yeah, but I don't think he fits that offense well either because that's more of a West Coast.
It's going to be interesting. Do you think he gets picked up before the season starts, or is he get?
Where I think would be a good fit. I'm sorry to cut you off, but they already drafted Dillon in Green Bay. I think he'd fit that offense well with LaFleur and Hackett as the OC. I think he would fit there really well. But they already drafted AJ Dillon, so I don't know what they think of him. Which I like Dillon.
I like Dillon. I like Akers to be the guy. I would hate for him to be with the Rams. I would hate every second of that. So I mean, I don't know. This is going to be tough. Do you think he gets picked up before the season starts? That's the question.
Like I said, nobody claimed him, so the market for him isn't super high. There's teams that just don't want to deal with him. He brings that superstar attitude, but most teams don't think he's a superstar. It's up to him. I don't know. He might be that guy that I told you if I'm him, I might want to wait a couple weeks. You lose money, get that. But if you wait a couple weeks, somebody goes down or somebody's not playing well, a team goes 0-2, or a team goes 2-0, that's in the bottom that like the Chargers that aren't expecting it, and then but they lack in the running game. Maybe they find out Eckler's not that every down back, and then they bring in a guy like him. I mean, I don't think the Chargers will be there, but I mean, what other teams? Pittsburgh, he'd be a great fit over there. And it's another one, but like they're loyal to Connor. But what if Connor's not doing well?
Right.
I think it just depends. I don't know. I think some teams don't want to deal with him, but I think he could help the Steelers.
All right. So let's move on from him. I mean, I don't know. He's going to buzzkill someone's fantasy football value. There's no doubt about it. I don't know when it's going to happen.
Speaking of the next guy on the list, Kamara, he'd be a good 1-2 punch with him in New Orleans, kind of like him and Ingram were.
Yeah.
So that's a spot I think like I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up there. Whether Kamara is there or not. Kamara is making these crazy contract requests.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. You got any thoughts on him?
Kamara, here's the deal. Let's talk about him. So is this a rumor? But I heard he wants CMC money. I think he deserves it. He just doesn't get the volume that CMC does. And that's not his fault. He's always part of a 1-2 punch. So CMC $16 million a year, Kamara $12 million a year is what I think in and around the range they're offering. I mean, I would keep him if I was the Saints. I mean, he's solid. He's a good focal point of that offense. I think he works well in that offense. I mean, what do you think? I think he should stay there, and I think they should compensate him well. I don't see any reason why they should cheap out on this guy.
I mean, he had a really good year a couple of years ago, but last year he really blew it. And that was his year to earn this kind of money.
Right.
So I think I don't think he's worth this kind of money. I don't think he's as good of a running back as McCaffrey, a pure running back. McCaffrey's a better running back. He's a better receiver. Kamara's a great receiver, great touches guy, but I don't think I don't know. To me, I need to see another year out of him, and then like Derrick Henry, and then I franchise if I want him. I don't touch him. He plays, or he's not going to hold. I mean, listen. What is he going to do? Hold out and get what kind of fines? I don't think he's worth that kind of money at all. The problem is, the Saints are competing. Drew Brees is on his last days. Was he have 2 years max left? If not, this is it. I don't know. 3, 2, 1. So with Kamara, it's a tough situation because he's like another guy in a contract year, right? But these guys, Aaron Jones, Fournette, not anymore. Joe Mixon just signed. We'll talk about him in a second. But I wouldn't pay him. I think if they can trade him, sign Fournette, trade him. But Kamara's that weapon out of the backfield that can really elevate them, in which they may need this year. But I wouldn't pay him a multi-year deal.
So yeah, he could be traded, but who would want him at this point? Again, similar situation with Leonard. Who would want him right now, and who has the money to eventually pay him? Who wants to get paid?
You can find money. Yannick Ngakoue just took less money to get out of Jacksonville to go to Minnesota. You know, I think he's a Pro Bowler, but I mean, he went from like what 16 to 12 million just to get out of Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a horrible place to play. Nobody likes the management. It's been a shithole for years. But you know, and they've ruined they have all these great players that aren't even on the team anymore. Good players, not great players, good, decent players. I mean, it's a mess over in Jacksonville. So Kamara, I mean, he could go to a lot of places and make a difference. But like I said, they bring in Fournette, be the man over there, you know, and then they trade Kamara for a draft pick. I mean, that's what they would get at this point. But a lot of Kamara could fit in a lot of places. I don't know, but then Kamara also would have to get traded and not have a contract demand unless somebody really wants to pay him. I mean, I don't think he's worth, you know, 16 million or even close to it. I don't think he's worth 12, but I think he can get like 8 to 13 in that range.
Right. It's obviously not as good as CMC, but he's still a solid player and he is a pretty good receiver. And I think he's a dynamic playmaker. I think he's worth close to that. I mean, you got to pay these guys. He's, you know, last year was a bit of a down year, but he can bounce back.
Well, Mixon just got 4-year, $48 million extension. Now, I don't know how much of that's guaranteed. So he's probably saying I'm better than Joe Mixon, who's getting 12 a year.
Yeah.
What did Derrick Henry get? He got like 12 a year, right? But that's what the going rate is for these one-dimensional running backs. And I'm not saying Kamara is not one-dimensional. Well, Mixon's not either, but they're on that tier. And Henry was the best in the game last year, but he was under that franchise is only 12 million. So you got that one guy making a lot more money in McCaffrey, but McCaffrey had a special season last year. So, and he got paid like it. So Kamara hasn't done anything to me to prove that he's even worth 12 million yet. If you pay him on 12 million, you're taking a gamble, and I would guarantee, you know, 24 million of that. So that way you got him for 2 years at that price and you can get rid of him if it doesn't work out.
Right.
I don't know. They tried to give him the role last year. He was nicked up a little bit, didn't really perform. You know, he's not a guy. I think he was in over his head.
Yeah.
He thought he was better than he is, and that's what you see a lot of time with young guys. You know, you see that a lot. So Joe Mixon, 4-year, $48 million.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, I think he's a little overrated. I don't think this guy's that good of a running back. I really don't. But Cincinnati, they don't have a lot of options. I don't know. I'm just not sold on this guy. Pinnacle year 2018, only 8 touchdowns. I mean, what's so special about Joe Mixon for that agreement? I mean, that's a little much for me.
That's a lot for him. Not a lot. I mean, I would have given him 10 a year, you know, 4 years, 40 million. I think is a better number. But like I said, I don't know what's guaranteed in that deal. If the last 2 years he'll never see, or the last year is like 17 million, he's not going to see that. So I don't know how the deal was structured. When I looked it up this morning, I didn't see it out there. But I, you know, probably be out there the next day or two, if not today. But he's a good enough running back. He's better than those 1,000-yard guys like Melvin Gordon, Carlos Hyde, who had 1,000 last year. He's good. He's a 1,200 yards a year guy, and I think they're spending money. They spent money this year, spent money on a couple defenders too. I think they're trying to set. They don't want to disappoint Joe Burrow. It would have been a fiasco if he held out and never went to Cincinnati, but they're trying to set him up to win. I mean, they brought AJ Green back, which I don't think was a good decision for them.
I'm not sold on him. I'm not sold. He's already battling injuries already.
Well, that's the problem. Like
hamstring.
But see, they did that to show Burrow, listen, we're putting a supporting cast around you. And they're also doing this, I think, to set up for next year. I think they're going to try to make a couple big splashes in free agency this coming up year or next year in March. I think they're trying to set a foundation and fill in the pieces. Kind of how like the Browns did it, but I think in a more economical and frugal way with the other pieces to the puzzle. They don't draft that bad in Cincinnati. They're just known to be pretty cheap. They were in the playoffs for a while. And they always had some really good defenders, couple good guys on the line, but they had guys that they got rid of, you know, a couple Pro Bowl linemen. They've had good players and been in the playoffs. So they're not like, they just like always that piece away and that Andy Dalton, you know, but maybe they're just doing the team the same way they had it with him. And I think Mixon's a good signing for them. They had to pay a little more. You know, some teams have to pay a little more because guys don't want to play there. And plus, I don't know what the deal was, but I mean, 4 years, 48 million. I don't know the total deal, but I think that was a good deal for him.
I'm not sold on him. I wouldn't pay that guy a dime. I'm just, like I said, I understand he's a good running back. I don't think he's the ultra elite, like you said. I'm all about getting the ultra elite. I'm just picky. If I was a GM, I only want the best. I'm mumbling here. I only want the best. Like AJ Green, why would I even waste my time? I mean, the guy's, I know veteran locker room guy, maybe, but he's already dealing with hamstring issues. Like, we haven't even started the season.
Now, yeah, he had a foot injury last year. He was top, 2 or 3 receivers in the game for a number of years.
What, in 2015, 2016, whatever that was.
I mean, for a long time. I mean, he was the best in the game, top 3 in the game, whatever. He's a good character. He's great for that organization. Like I told you, I think they're trying to build a foundation there. But they didn't sign him long term. I mean, I don't think he'll be back there next year.
Okay.
He could be a trade candidate if they're not playing well, for sure. But I think they want to bring some stability and leadership for Burrow too, as well, until he's groomed as the leader, which was probably sooner than later. But great player, great character, great person. I don't know what he can produce at this stage in his career, though.
Let's move on from the Bengals. I hate this team, especially for fantasy. Stay away. Burrow could have a high ceiling. I want to get into some minor news here. There's other news going on. Apparently, Arizona Cardinals, Kenyon Drake, undisclosed injury, right? I don't know. Something was wrong with his foot. He was in a boot or something. Is returning to full practice, Kingsbury said on September 1st. So I'm not sold on Drake being the guy. I still think Benjamin comes in. I think Chase Edmonds comes in. Are you sold on Kenyon Drake being a full workhorse running back and being a top fantasy producer? Is he the real deal? I don't think so.
Oh, they're definitely not. Definitely not sold on him. Is he the real deal? That's a question that needs to be answered by him playing football. I would say no.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so. I think Benjamin could be a guy that could come in, man. I heard he broke out for a good run. He's I don't know. I think he made the team now, right? He was drafted in the 7th round. They need the depth. There's no one else there.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's tons of surprises. Maybe they, like, a lot of teams don't want to go with young guys. I've been noticing this year. They're calling in a lot of veterans, like Kevin White, Tavon Austin, these guys that can't play. But a lot of teams, like with the COVID thing, I've seen there less young guys and more veterans. I do think there's going to be some issues over there with the offense. I think like they're all hyped up, and I'm not buying Arizona. I think Hopkins will have a good year by number 1. Fitzgerald's going to get worse. He's older, but I think Hopkins is going to put up some numbers there. But this guy, I'm going to pass.
Yeah, so am I. So many question marks, man, just in this whole season. Is Burrow going to do well? Like we talked about, where's Lenny going to land? Is Clyde Edwards-Helaire the real deal? There's so many things that are going to be. That's why we watch football, right? The drama unfolds, and it makes it super exciting. Some other minor news here. I want to talk about it. A guy that I'm really high on, Todd Gurley. Apparently, he was really impressive at scrimmage on Friday, August 28th, according to head coach Dan Quinn. The speed was the thing, he said. He ran out of basically ran really fast, looks really good. On another play, he got to the edge and made a big play. I felt the speed was for certain. So feeling really good about Todd Gurley's speed. I know you're not high on Todd Gurley that much, but do you think he could have a year that he did in 2017 again? I think so. What are your thoughts?
Maybe not that good, but I'm not high on him, but I'm not low on him. I think he's due for a good year. And if you look at his history, he has a good year, a bad year, a good year, a bad. He's always back and forth, and I think he's got something to prove. So yeah, I'm high. I'm buying him. I'm in on him.
So
I don't know how good of a year he can have or what opportunities they'll give him. I don't think they're going to revolve the offense around him.
Yeah,
he can have a monster year, but I think he can go for 1,200 yards. At least 600 receiving, 10 touchdowns. I think he's going to have a good year as long as he stays healthy.
Right. I'm excited for him. I'm excited about that offense. I got Matt Ryan in a lot of leagues. Always, again, get a backup for a backup plan, guys. That's why I got to get the 16-round draft solution. Explains everything. Make sure you guys grab that. All right. So what else do we got here in the news that you want to talk about? Again, there's so much minor news
we got
here and there.
News. I'll name a few things that could affect people. Jalen Reagor, he's probably going to miss a few games in the start of the season. A lot of people.
What happened there? I didn't get caught up on my Eagles news.
Shoulder. Supposedly he looked good in camp this year. But I don't think he's going to miss the start of the season. He had a shoulder injury, surgery needed, but no firm timeline yet. So he's probably going to miss the opening part of the season. Those things are tough. I don't know how bad the shoulder is. I mean, it affects when the guys go up. So a lot of guys will play through it, but they lack the extension. So and if it's something that needs surgery, usually guys put it off to the off season, stuff like that. So that's a factor. The Raiders lost Tyrell Williams. I know he's not a big threat. However, what that does is open up the door for the rookies to get more playing time because Tyrell, he was getting playing time there. I think he had about 700 yards last year, 6 touchdowns, right? Not that he's going to be a factor, but he opens the door up for a guy like
Edwards.
Yeah, or Riggs.
Ruggs, yeah.
Riggs to come in and, from Alabama and get some more opportunity, I think. And I think that, is something to look at. And the Bears have a couple news. Matt Nagy said he's going to name a starting QB no later than next Wednesday. I don't like either of those guys. I think Foles wins that job. He's been playing a little bit better, but I've been saying that for a while. I don't think they brought in Foles. I know they restructured his deal, but they're still paying him.
Right.
You could see both those guys starting 8 games this year. It's a disaster.
Right.
But then your guy, David Montgomery, he a little groin injury. Any news
on a week? I heard it's a week. I'm not really concerned about that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Groin injuries are tough. It just matters if he pulled it, strained it, tore. I don't think he tore it because that would be bad.
Right.
Months. So there was non-contact. He slipped. Hopefully it's just a little strain and he's better in a week or so. But I mean, what's his competition over there?
I mean, it's only Tariq Cohen. There isn't much, and he's not competition.
Yeah. I wonder if it affects him going into week 1 or 2. Maybe he'll get a lighter load in the beginning, something like that. But I'm not, those things, you just got to monitor that stuff moving forward. I don't, it's a tough one over there.
It is.
Yeah, their team's not looking too good for me. I'm going to pass on the beer. Not for him. I think he'll play well in that offense, but I just think they're going to clean house after the season. I don't see them making the playoffs or anything like that.
I think Montgomery would be good when he gets back. I don't trust Nagy keeping him on the field and then having that non-contact injury, a bit of a concern for me. I mean, I kind of like the upside of Cam Akers, but again, I just feel Leonard Fournette's going to come in and buzzkill somebody, and I'm concerned about Miles Sanders' value, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, maybe Montgomery, and maybe Akers. Those 4 teams I'm concerned about now that I think New England's out of the equation. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today, just kind of go over that with you. Now, let's just talk. I kind of said we'd mention this. What do you think about the primetime game? I looked at the odds here. KC is the 10-point favorite. I think that's a bit much going into a new season. We got Deshawn Watson. I think his offense is going to be good enough with David Johnson. I think they beat KC in the running back game. I think David Johnson is better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, a lot of people will debate that, but I don't think it's much of a debate. You got rookie versus veteran that had some unfortunate circumstances. I think Fuller's going to get involved. I was talking to a Texans guy. I think Fuller's the main guy. Cook is going to be there. Their tight end is getting involved as well. I think they're going to be solid, man. I think it's going to be closer than people think. Primetime game. What do you think? Who's going to cover the spread here? Do you think KC's going to win by over 10 here?
I think that's a question I need to answer next Wednesday.
All right, let's save it for next week.
However, I'm not surprised they're favored by 10. Home game, first game of the season. If you're looking at the way they finished last year,
yep.
And I'll tell you one thing. When I've been looking at some of the spreads and some of the preseason predictions, which we can go over next week if you want, but a lot of the odds makers are favoring the Texans to win only like 7 or 8. I think 7 or 8 games this year. I think their over under was 7.5 games. So the odds makers in Vegas aren't high on the Texans this year.
I am. I think they're underrated, man. I think they're good. I think their receivers situation suspect. But I think David Johnson's lining up as a receiver. I think they're going to be good, man. I think they'll be better than you think.
But, first game of the season, it just matters what the rust looks like. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one because you have the Texans are a tough team.
Yeah.
I think they don't have the best secondary in my opinion. So I would take the 10 points. I'm sorry, I would give the 10 points if I was KC.
So you would take KC to win by 10
right now? Yeah.
Coming right. I think
City. That's only 10 points. They put that up in 30 seconds. I'm going to go with the Super Bowl champs on that one. I guess I'd rather answer it next week. However, it is what it is. I mean, how could you bet against the Chiefs right now? I mean, you can't.
I know.
They have a down year. Well, they have a little slump coming off for Super Bowl.
But I think Watson's got to make a statement early in the season. This is it. It's going to set the precedent for the year.
He's trying to get paid. He hasn't gotten paid yet. They've been in contract negotiations, nothing heavy, but they've had minor talks for months right now, and he wants sick money. If he comes in and they win, say 45-21 or something, it's more of a statement game. Like he wants the money, and I don't think they're gonna get something done. But it's just I think they're a little far apart right now, from what I've heard. but he's not taking a discount. And if he needs to make a statement. If he comes in and gets bombed, I tell you, it's a big game for him.
It is. So, Tom, man, that's it for news and notes, man. I just want to do a quick episode, have our talk, fire and ice here. I'm excited, man. We're almost there, 8 days away. Get the 16-round draft solution, linked it below, and follow the Tom Santinella podcast available on YouTube and iTunes. Thanks, Tom, for being on, man. We're going to get a little bit more into that game next Wednesday as we're a day before that game. We're going to get more insight as we get closer. So I'm excited, man. We're almost there, Tom, almost near the starting line here.
Yeah, almost there. I mean, next Wednesday, we got the preview for Thursday, and then we have a couple, games on Sunday, a couple Monday night games, and we'll start doing a recap.
Yep. Everything's going to be here on this podcast. Subscribe, leave a thumbs up, smash that thumbs up, leave your fantasy questions below, and get 60 rounds. Guys, thanks for being here, and we are out. Thank you.